Come here a minute, let me show you something. This thermometer is on 23.3. It's been just lying here switched on. That is how warm this room is at the minute. It's going to be a really, really hot day. This is bedding, right? This is paper bedding. You can see how deep this is. This is the bedding that I use for Sylvie. It's just paper bedding, it's quite compressed. I haven't used very much of this bale. But let me show you this. So the temperature is now 23.6. I hope you can see that. I have no idea how close or far away I am from the camera. 23.6. And I'm going to just chuck this in the bedding, right? Come here. Can you see how fast that's falling? It's still going down. It is cooler underneath your hamster's bedding than it is in the main room. Like, this is quite significantly cooler than it is the ambient temperature in this room. Really deep bedding acts like insulation. The millions of tiny air pockets between these pieces of bedding slow down the movement of heat. Deeper layers warm up much more slowly than the air around it. And because this traps air, and because air is actually quite a poor conductor of heat, although you wouldn't believe it in this heat wave, it actually takes longer for the bedding to warm up. So that's not to say it doesn't ever warm up, it just takes a lot longer. So it will stay cooler in the bedding for longer than it will stay cooler elsewhere. At the same time, this bedding has more mass than the air above it. So obviously there's nothing here and yet there's lots of stuff here. It takes a lot more energy to heat this up than it does to heat this up, because the heat has more space and room to travel here and less here. So the temperature change does happen, but it's a lot slower underground. This works best obviously when the bedding starts off cool, but if you're anything like the majority of hamster owners, your enclosure has been sat there with bedding in it and it has been cooler the last few days. So as it warms up now, unless you change your bedding like mid-heat, then the bedding should already be cooler. So if the temperature remained the same for days and days and nights on end, then also the bedding would heat up. But the fact that the temperature rises and then drops overnight means that the bedding is much more likely to stay cool than it is to heat up, which is why you shouldn't really reduce the amount of bedding that your hamster has. I only know this because when I had Flamey, I was really worried because he kept burrowing and it was really, really warm, and I thought, you're just going to be buried under all that fluff. It's like a giant duvet, right? But actually, I used this exact thermometer because I wasn't convinced that it was cooler under there. I thought he's going to be roasting alive under there. I used this thermometer, put it in, and I was very surprised at just how much cooler it was under there than it was out here. So this is now reading 21.1. So that's quite significantly cooler than it is on the outside. A really good thing to do in a heat wave is not to reduce your hamster's bedding, but to make sure that they have plenty of bedding available, and you try as little as possible to disturb it so that that air stays trapped inside, keeping your hamster cool.